Okay, next up, Leona is going to introduce the INtransit project, and then we'll go back to Children's Wood afterwards.
I'll make it short and sweet. At least I'll try to. I thank you very much for coming here, and I also thank the Goethe Institute for hosting us. This is a collaborative project between 8 different Goethe Institutes in Northwest Europe. I'll explain further what countries that include, but I want to thank Barbara Kalbach, the head of the Goethe Institute, and Eva Bailey for organizing the entire event. INtransit, and in case you might wonder who these people are that you have never encountered in Glasgow, is a project that features 15 projects from these countries. Today we have 5 initiatives here. One is the local initiative from Glasgow, North Kelvin, Meadows. We have Maurice from Rotterdam, who's going to present next. Then we have Christer from Stockholm. We have Jakob from Helsinki, and we have the 2 Irish boys who again disappeared from Dublin. Well, what is this whole INtransit project about? We heard this morning that actually it's all about place and place making. And so we thought, okay, where are these initiatives? What do they actually do? And it's not so much about who these people are, the individuals, but rather the strategies they apply. We are interested in comparing their organizational models. We are interested in how they finance themselves. But we are most interested in actually how do they transform the places and the spaces they engage in. INtransit is actually also about creating a network within this region so that the people can learn from each other. Because I think what we all realize is that the problems are quite similar, but there's not so much exchange, and there might be a similar problem in Stockholm, and another person from Dublin or Helsinki might have a solution to that. So we thought we'd bring these people together. We organize 8 different routes, as we call them, 8 different events in 8 different cities. So this Glasgow event is actually the first event of a series. This project is going to go on until next year, so until also basically May next year. And there's going to be a blog that will be launched next week. If you Google INtransit and Goethe Institute, you will find it, or just Goethe and INtransit. And without further ado, I think I would like to hand over to Maurice, who will present a project from Rotterdam, which will also feature kids, but I think the following 4 projects will be more about really showing that it's all about actually just go out and do things. And Maurice already showed that with plugging in that cable, whereas I was looking around like, who's going to do that? Maurice just got up and did it. So thank you, Maurice, and I'll hand over to you.
So I'm going to take you to Rotterdam. This is the general library in Rotterdam. We have 24 libraries, or we used to have 24 libraries. But then the council decided it was time to close 18 out of 24. Because people weren't showing up at the library anymore, people were getting the information somewhere else, and there were budget cuts. All 3 are true and all 3 are false. I'm not going to go into the discussion about it, but in the area I live in, people put up a petition. We brought together 1,000 people signing the petition, but most of you will probably know petitions don't really matter. Most of the time you do them after the fact, after it's already decided. So we thought, well, we can become very cynical now, or very angry, or sad, or whatever. Or could we try to come up with a tangible, concrete, positive answer? So we went out into the community, and we, in first instance, implies me and a friend of mine, Joke. Well, you can't really see her. One thing, if you ever do a project, invest in a good camera. It's probably the first thing you have to invest in, because you have to tell the story about your product. Quite often the pictures help you tell the story. So we just went around in this neighborhood in which we are situated, which has been very active for the last 40 years. So there were a lot of groups to which we could go to. So a Turkish cultural group, Somali youth group, I don't know where we all went. And we went with 2 questions. Because we decided at first we were not going to write a plan ourselves. Because then we would come up with a plan after 3 months, then go out in the community, ask them, what do you think about the plan? Nah, or, well, why haven't you thought of this, or why haven't you done this? So then we would have gone back to our office, write another plan and do nothing, and after 6 months, still nothing would have happened. So we thought, well, we're going to do it differently. Went out and asked 2 questions. The first, what would your ideal reading room look like? Because people sort of have a feeling that something is taken away, but what? What are we losing when we close a library? Because the 1,000 people who signed the petition, probably only 25 of them were still members of the library. The rest wasn't a member. So what is it we were losing? So we grouped it all together, and it had to do with reading, learning, sharing, knowledge, and reading to children. And the other was, we asked people, well, and what are you willing to do yourself? Because otherwise we would have drawn up a long list of things people would have wanted, and it would have looked to me and Joke like, what are you going to do about it? Well, it's only 2 of us, nothing. So we had a list of 50, 60 people who said, well, I'm willing to do something. Then after the summer we organized a 5-day festival in which we tested out all these ideas we gathered. So every day we took one of these core ideas and tested them out in a festival. For us it was a way of testing out these ideas. Does somebody show up if we actually organize something? But it was also a way of testing out, well, saying you are willing to do something and actually doing something are 2 different things. So it was also a way of testing that out. And the other element was, our ambition was always to open up the reading room 5 days a week from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening. Totally run by volunteers. If you would tell that to anyone, they will say, well, it can be done. So we thought, well, if we at least show them that we can do it for 5 days a week, you can't just beforehand say it can't be done. So we did the festival, got into this space which is an old Turkish bathhouse which had been standing empty for 2.5 years. We got it for free the first month, but now we just rent it. And we were very lucky. There's a strange lighting, so you really can't see the pictures. So one of the guys who's there in the middle, he's an interior architect. So we work only with stuff we have gotten from people. So the bookshelves, the bar we have, the computers, the books, everything we've gotten from people. But because let's not forget, Bill showed us some pictures about how unequal our societies are. On the other hand, the Netherlands is the 5th richest country in the world. We have a lot of stuff. Space, money, time, knowledge. We just use it very badly. So the question is, how can we pool all these things we have in abundance together and make something great out of it? Instead of trying to get more money and buy more stuff. It is all there. So we now have, for example, the computers. I got literally an email from somebody writing me an email saying, well, I write you this email from this computer, do you want to have it? Why? Because businesses can give it away after 3 years. Because it's not worth anything anymore. But you can use it in a public space. So you can just get it for free. We have a collection of 40,000 books. We've also given away 30,000 books, and we've thrown away 20,000. So all these books are just in abundance. So we give them away for a very specific reason. Nobody does administration for fun. So if you don't administer the way the books go in and out, you don't have to do the whole administration. So it works very nicely in that way. So this is the front end of the building. We have very large glasses which have 2 good things about it. One thing is, for public space to work, you have to be able to look inside. You have to be able to look inside to see what's happening there. Because otherwise you probably think, well, it's not for me. Or, well, it looks a bit scary, I'm not going to go in there. So for us it was very important that you could look inside. That's why there is only one poster on the door, and that's it. Nobody's allowed to put posters on it. We had to fight with some of our volunteers in the start because we're all used to putting up posters there. The problem with it is, nobody takes the posters down. So then there's a poster from 2012 saying, well, we had this great party. No, it's 2015 now, what's happening now? But the other thing which we didn't realize is, because you can look outside, some of our volunteers are able to be mother and volunteer at the same time. So they're a volunteer inside and they can look at the children who play on the square in front of our building. So it was very helpful that we have this specific space. Some more pictures of the way it looks. Yes, we sell beer and wine during events, and no, we don't have a license. We never bothered. And that's something we do often. So also the big birdhouses, we put them out in the community as a sort of 3D poster of, yes, we're opening up the reading room, yes, you can take the books, and we're situated here. We never asked permission from the city because the moment we took them away again is probably the first moment they would normally find out about it. So why ask permission? Just do it and they will don't bother about it. So don't ask too much permission. It just gives, no, if you ask permission, you give them a reason to say no. That's the whole thing about it. So like I said, we run totally on volunteers. We have 90 volunteers. The youngest is 10, the oldest is 83. They come from 16 different countries originally, and some haven't finished primary school and others have their PhD and anything in between. And that's, for me, one of the things which makes this particular project very special, because a lot of citizen initiatives are projects by people like yourselves, for people like yourselves. And I don't mind that. But if you really want to create public spaces, you will have to go beyond your own friends. And you have to do that probably straight from the start. What we often see is that people start a project with friends like themselves and they say, oh, I would like the whole community to come in. Let's organize something so they come in. And then realize afterwards, oh, nobody's coming. Why aren't they interested? Well, because you organized it for them instead of with them. So the question is, how can you involve them from the start is one of the big things we should get better at. So some pictures of our volunteers. So we're open 5 days a week. So you can use the computers. We have Wi-Fi from the upstairs neighbor, which he knows. We have these books. We have 5 different newspapers. You can sit around, work, talk to people, drink coffee, do all those kind of things. And next to it, we organize all kinds of programs around language, literature, and imagination, which has led to that we built our own boxing ring because we were organizing a music event together with a Thai box school. We have a dancing group. Well, there's all kinds of stuff which you, if you could have read Dutch, you could see it all on the website. But Google Translate will help you. 2 structural elements which are very important for the whole project is we need a space. And like I said, we got it for free the first month, which was good, but the Housing Corporation didn't realize that we were never leaving again. So we just stayed there, opened up again, and while we were open, we were negotiating with them about a contract. We thought, well, why wait until then we have to take out 20,000 books and then come back again. Let's just open up again. So now we have a sort of traditional contract. Well, sort of. And the other element is, yes, we run on a very small budget. Leona yesterday asked me, well, why does this weird figure of 155 euros and 41 cents stand there? Well, it's what one day reading room costs. we divided the cost of our first year to the days that we were open, and that's what it cost. And I could make 150 euros out of it, but nobody believes running your project costs a round number. So I just put up the actual number. So, and the way we get our money is we got money from the national lottery at first, and we got 50,000 euros for 1 year. But after 9 months I had to write them a letter saying, well, we have a problem. I can't spend your money. So we only spent 7% of their money in the first year. So I wrote them a letter saying, well, we have 3 options. Either I spend it on something ridiculous, which is what you often see with subsidies. At the end of if you want to organize something, ask for money at the end of the year with the government. They will have to spend money, because otherwise next year they will get less. It's a crazy incentive. The other thing is, well, I said, well, I could send it back to you, but then your accountant won't know what to do with it. So I said, there is a third option. Can we take as long as we need to spend your money? And they were as forward thinking as you can ask for somebody who gives you money. I said, well, okay, because you've done what you said you were going to do, you just needed less money. Okay, we're going to have a rolling end date, so we now can use as long as we need to spend their money. We're 2.5 years along the way now, and we still have half of it. And that's because we're very good at keeping our costs very low and making money. So we sell wine and beer during events at night. You can rent the space if you organize something which has something to do with language, imagination, and participation. And there's one other condition: the front door will always be open. So we're first a public space and then a space you can rent. And most of the time you see it the other way around. It's a space you can rent out, and if nothing's organized, well, let the community come in. It does something with the identity of your space, the way people look at your space. The other element of it is, and then I will hand over to Christer, is yes, we can run on a very small budget. It has to do with that we have no staff. That saves us 85% of our budget. So we have to be very clear about that. And the other is, we will never be able to provide our own money totally. We will always need money by third parties, unless we become a commercial space. But if we don't want everything to turn into a commercial space, we might want to pool money together in different ways. And there, well, you will probably talk about how you can pool money together. He's the money man. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, if there are any questions, I will happily answer them, and otherwise I will hand over to Kristen.
I just wondered, how did you get involved? Were you a library user, or like what motivated you to actually? Well,
there were a couple of reasons for me. I read a lot of books, but I wasn't a member of the library anymore. Just because my daughter was born, I became a member of the library again. Now, one of the things I'm really interested in is in abundance. We live in a society of abundance, and I'm curious how we can use everything we have in abundance to create common goods. So that's one of the things I really like doing. And as you might have noticed, I can't sit or stand still, so I just have to do something.
So do you have a full-time job outside of this?
Yeah, well, I'm a freelance researcher. So during my work, I sometimes sit down and write stuff, actually.
One of the things I liked about your presentation is there's a definite aura of anarchy over it.
Yeah.
And really what you seem to be suggesting and implying is that is really a help in getting things going.
Yeah.
Disregard the rules as much as you reasonably can.
And find out, well, there is way more space within the rules even than we think of. So we are very one-track mind about what rules do to us. There's way more space to do stuff. And when we opened up the reading room, somebody wrote an article in a national newspaper saying, well, this is probably the nicest form of anarchism I've seen in the last 20 years. So you've seen it right. There's a part of anarchism in this.
I really like that.
Anarchist.
Well, if I could just say, in part of this lady's talk, Kay mentioned the travelling people. And I come from the island of Lewis, and my late father was the first person in the teeth of considerable council opposition who gave tinker people houses that they wanted, council houses that they wanted. And there was all sorts of prejudice. Oh, they'll keep coals in the bath, or they'll have their horses living in the house. He just stuck to it because he just disregarded the rules, and it worked fine. So sometimes you just have to do it.
Christer.
Applause for the video. Yeah. You're responsible for attitude.
I'm gonna let like a pictures show from this summer. I'm gonna talk about my project, the young people in Skärholmen's project. Hello, my name is Christer Eolsson. I work in Stockholm. I'm a social field worker from the beginning. And in my work as a social field worker, I was going to look up young people in risk areas who was in the danger of doing criminality or drug or alcohol abuse. So I was doing that for a half a year in Skärholmen. It's a community who's in the media is painted up really like for the bad things like criminality, high unemployment and stuff like that. And in my work I saw all the focus I was putting on the negative things, and I saw all the good things that I wasn't putting any attention to. So I met a guy called Asifa who was born in the area, and he was a basketball coach. He worked 7 days a week, 5 hours, and did a great job, and I saw that he had this positive respect in the area. So I started working with him. I used my knowledge from the social field that, like we were talking about spring breaks, and a lot of young people, when school are closes, the football teams aren't have practices. Many young people fell into negative things doing that. So we wanted to do something, so we gathered positive role models from the area, from different compounds. And we asked them, what do you want to do? And we said, there's no limits. And they said, we want to do a festival, and we want to have 6 weeks, and we wanted to move around the area because it's like different parts, and if you're living in one area in Skärholmen, you don't go to another. And so they said, we want to change that. And they said they wanted Skärholmen to be a place people wanted to move to, not from. So that was what we had to work with. So what I did, I started seeking funds and helping them with structure, and then they did all the work, and they created this 6-week-long festival in Skärholmen. It moves around, it's 2 weeks in one area, then we move the whole festival, and it's 120 young people working with it in 12 different groups. It's like basketball, football, they have Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's really big, they have dance, theater, they have child tents where they do paintings, and we invite all kinds of like compounds or associations from the whole Stockholm. The culture department comes out and work with the group. And there are 20 older young people who are leading those 120. And those 20 young people, they are planning all year to do this festival with 4 people who are, oh no. Yes, so the project is built up like 3 cornerstones, and I'm going to read them because my English isn't the best. Collaboration between sport associations and companies and agencies in the area to make them, and like the police, we have the fire department who is there every day, and they go on like alarms from the festival, so they get like start relationships with the young people in early age. Good examples from the area leading younger young people. Involvement, all decisions. Yeah, all the decisions is taken by the young people. I can't decide anything. When they started, I can say you have to have this artist there, you have to have this. It's the young people, because often people call me, you have to have this on the festival. And I said, it's not my choice, it's that you have to talk to those 20 young people. And it's up to 25, then we change, because they got too old those days, so we have to change, so we put a roof on it. So, I'm going to show you like a movie from, we have a winter festival to 1 week, so it's 7 weeks a year festival. Then we have 4 under projects who are on the weekends, 1 democracy project and 1 school project, like anti-bullying, we could. So, but I don't have time to talk about them now, but I'm going to show you this short movie from this summer. No, winter festival. And there, you're going to get some sound too.
Värmar upp inför 127-festivalen som börjar snart.
På Bernabéu, jag kan säga att det är riktigt härligt att få komma hit. Det var andra året för mig och jag hoppas att jag får komma tillbaka. Tack snälla alla.
Yes. Got to hear some Swedish girl. Any questions?
Is this, how do you fund all this? Is it, do you get grants?
Yeah, it's local like companies sponsor it. Like the food store, if you have some events, so we have good sponsoring from the community. And now they have like Arvsfonden is called like it's from the government, like a funding you can seek for 3 years. We have had that. but now probably Swedish biggest bank is going into sponsoring it, because now the project is starting in Göteborg, so we've gone national. So that's the way we found it. And like from the city or Skärholm and the community, they've seen such like criminality, like during the summer, during the festival, has gone down. Their relationships with the police, with the fire department, and the young people has done so much better. The social offices get 0 complaints during the summers from the police, or like, and the school are closed, so they're getting less anyway. But they like had a 0 last summer, and they do like connection with the festival. So it does it easier to seeking funds when we can show the results. Yes.
I was just going to ask about that,
Yeah.
because I think if you can know, it's one thing to know that anecdotally, but it's another to actually have the figures, so you can say, this is what the department spent. This is how many children presented at A&E last year.
Yeah.
And when we had these interventions this year, so many less, that has actually been a saving. And I think when you have strong figures like that, you know, the crime rates, vandalism going down less.
Yeah, like we have a lot of help from the social welfare in Sweden, because they like take out numbers. Like we've seen like the kids, we take 20 kids from the social that are active in the social where they were going to send them away to like youth prisons. They got the chance of working in the summer, and they had a leader. They come into a positive sammanhang, you know, like environment with good role models, and they showed results. They started going to school after not being to school for 2 years. They came every day, had time to work. They got their T-shirt and they know the rules. They get to do something they were good at. Maybe they were good at playing football, but maybe they lost it somewhere, and they get to teach other kids. And those results, then they can say, yeah, we saved like 300,000 euros every year, not placing that kid somewhere else. And that's maybe the budget for the whole year. That's the one kid we can show results. So we have something in Sweden, socio-economic bokslut. Like you do like for companies after the year, like the economic result. We have that socio-economic, like what do you save if you like can change life or so.
So it's not just about financial. Maybe there was, I think, a lot of what happens here in this country is it ends up being down to money.
Yeah.
We would say it was more about the social capital.
Yeah, social, but like the sponsors, like the building companies in the area, they are sponsoring us every year, and they see, because it's less like graffiti and smashed windows, like because all the kids are at the same place during the summer, so there's less like, and they have something to do from 10 o'clock to 6, and there's night football competitions and stuff like that. So the cost during the summers are they're making, like everybody knows that, making money out of it. So and then like they get references. Always like people from jobs calling like, she worked here this summer. How did she? And I can like write references from the state, like Stockholm city. They work as a project leader, and it's good when they're seeking jobs, because many of the kids who work here have like they're second generation immigrants, and it's harder to get job. It's harder to get job if your name is Mohammed or Ali. It's a fact. So then it's good, like you can show on paper that I worked. And, yeah.
How much time do you spend, do young people spend hearing each festival? You have to work with them.
The group, like the 20 like role models, they meet 5 hours every second Monday with me, and then we have planning. It gets easier for every year, because we have they do like project plan for like the computer group, the media group, the football group. They have like project plans, so they work, do their own budget and stuff, and I help them. Then we go to one camp every year. For 2 days we go away and we have, but there we do more like what the vision work and ethics and morals and like what rules do we gonna have. They make the rules for the summer jobs. That's a pretty funny thing. The first year we were like, it wasn't so hard on the rules, and second year, so now we're gonna have hard rules. So if you're 10 minutes late, we're gonna take 1 hour salary, and so now every kid's so it's good with the, we call it the bear favor in Sweden. If you do someone a favor, it's not good for them in a long time. And that's, we want to prepare them for the working life. We want them to get in time for work. Like, no swearing at the festival, that's very hard. You don't swear because it's young people there, and you should be good role models. Things like that, I like that, you know. For the, yes. Thanks for me.
Okay, I try to keep it short. Okay, so my name is Jakob Svanberg, and I'm from Finland, Helsinki, from an association called Yhteismaa, which means common ground in English. So,
You can use the arrows.
So we founded Yhteismaa a bit more than 3 years ago, so it's quite new association. And it's kind of started all by accident. We just started to speak in Facebook that we want to do an event. I will talk about that later. And we are specialized in new participatory city culture, co-creation, social movements, and place making. I have a lot of slides, so I have to go really fast. So we have a lot of different kind of projects going on, but the basic idea behind them all is like more fun, free, sustainable, responsible, and social urban life. So kind of the idea is that if we give freedom to the people, they also feel that it's their land, it's their common ground, and they are responsible for that. And we have like 3 major focus points: social well-being, environment, and culture in these projects. And we are also we have this idea of going from consumer culture to participatory culture. And we are redefining spaces also in our projects, making public space more social and available for everyone, and also turning private spaces into public ones. So in many ways changing spaces. And the idea is we are working together with the public sector, private sector, and people, and creating the common ground where everyone can take part. So Cleaning Day was our first project. It's a day when people go to the streets or parks or wherever to sell their stuff or give it away. And it started so that a friend of mine, at the moment I actually didn't know her, Paulina, was complaining on Facebook that she has so much stuff, why there isn't a day when you can just go to the streets and give it away or sell it. And then we decided to do it. And that happened like in February 2012, and like 3 months later, or 2.5 months later, we organized the first Cleaning Day. So we didn't have any permission for that. We just decided that we are going to do it, and then it just kind of grew bigger and bigger, and spread to the whole Finland. And last year we had around 10 to 20,000 people selling their stuff, and few 100,000 people maybe buying. It's really hard to say because I have no idea. But people were taking it taking part in 100 cities, and we are organizing it 2 times. Now we are trying to make it international too. We are at the moment working with our homepage so that it could be used everywhere in the world and with different languages. Next time it's going to be 29th of August. And it's not just about like selling your stuff, it's about having fun, eating together, like a lot of people just go to have a picnic, and at the same time they are having the flea market stand there. Also children are taking part, and elderly people. And we basically just use Facebook to promote our stuff, and also we have a web page where you can put your stand on the map, so we kind of create tools and make it easier for people to take part. And after the first time we have had actually also approval from the city that we can do that. So now we are doing it totally legal. That is our logo. It's in Finnish, meaning cleaning day. Yeah, it's an English logo and a Russian logo. It has spread to some countries already. And yeah, like I said, we want to make it more international now. Then we have also organized dinner under the Helsinki sky. It's in Finnish. So the idea is to, we proposed to the city an idea that we would celebrate the birthday of Helsinki by closing one of the major streets and put a table for 1,000 people, and they will all bring their own food. And they agreed with that, and also one company, energy company, agreed with that idea, and so we did it. So that's how it looks like normally on the left side, and this is how it was during the event. So there was a table for, it was maybe 350 meters long, and so people just brought their own food. Again, we just made it possible for the people, but didn't make it ready. And there were like lots of different kind of people also, like older people taking part. And yeah, although it started to rain, the people stayed there because they had really the ownership for the event. They were taking, really making themselves. So that's also like really important part for everything that we do, that people kind of are actively making. And then, of course, people started to complain why only 1,000 people. Actually, the seats were received in 2 minutes, so it was more popular than we thought. And then we made another day, like dinner under the Helsinki sky everywhere, and we just say to people, go to the streets and parks and wherever, and put your table there and eat together. And with one company, we made it possible so that you can order a table there if you didn't have one. So there are like a lot of different kind of dinners all over the city. Yeah, maybe, I think there was maybe 100, more than 100 dinners last 2 years ago. It was again organized last year, and again this year. It's coming in August. Then we have also, like I said, we turned private spaces into public ones. We have living room exhibitions, so art exhibitions at people's homes. We have organized 2 times in March for 2 days. We have 15 apartments, and then we the artists can apply, and it's totally free for everyone. Like every hour event, it's free for everyone. So that's kind of ideology that yeah, we are creating common ground and everyone can use it. It has been really popular. There have been around 200 to 300 visitors during those 2 days in the home galleries. And we have art in many different places. This one is in fridge, and in a closet, and balconies, saunas, all kind of places. So actually you can use spaces in really many ways, but people are just used to use them in one way. In February we organized also Home Theater Festival. I thought we have art exhibitions at people's home, why not theater? And then I contacted the theater university, and we made a festival for 1 week. There were like theater plays in different homes. And it was again free, but there was a hat where you can leave some money for the actors. And then we had also one theater evening in the sauna, and then I decided I want to do a sauna theater festival, so where everyone's going to be naked and like undress the theater. Also, we had like a parking day. We occupied parking slots. We asked for permission actually from the city to do that, and then we just gave them to the people, and they were doing a lot of different kind of things. So kind of showing what else you can do with a public space. Then a few other projects. Hoffice Helsinki. This is a group I started. Actually, this concept Hoffice comes from Stockholm. I was visiting Stockholm in January, and I thought I want to do that in Finland too. The idea is that we turn homes into pop-up co-working spaces for 1 day. So people just gather there to work together, like random people, anyone can join. I do it every now and then at my home. This is from there we have like 15 people there, and there's also we make soup. I buy the ingredients, we make it together, and it costs like €2, so it's a really cheap way to work too. And then you have the good like pressure to make actually your work. You always have to tell to the others what you're going to do. Some exercises to do with the working. Then we have also restaurant wasted space. With a few of my friends, we go to the wasted spaces and turn them into gourmet restaurants for one night, bring there some artists, music, DJs, all kind of stuff, and prepare a 5-course dinner. And again, it's basically free, but we ask people to take part at least with €35, but it's like really fancy dinner. We prepare it for 1 week. And it makes no sense to do it, but it's fun. This one was a mushroom party, and this one was a jazz club. It was in the morning. It was like totally empty, the space. We went to the school and asked if they can give us tables, and then we went to another technical store and asked if they can loan us a kitchen for the night. And then we asked some local artists to bring some art, and there was actually a Spanish jazz duo in the town at that moment, so I asked them to play, and so somehow it just happened. This was an old factory, furniture factory. This one was also like totally empty space in the morning, and then we built these lights and different kind of stuff there. Yeah, that's one of this kind of food we use. ALEKSIS KIVEN got a flea market. It's actually my home street where I'm living, and then I was thinking why there isn't any street flea markets in Helsinki. So I made a Facebook page and say that people have a habit to go to the ALEKSIS KIVEN on the street to sell their stuff, and they started to do it. So actually you can make things quite easily. I didn't ask any permission for that, but I kind of figured out that it's not illegal. And first time there was actually police, like they came there was maybe 1,000 people, and they were looking like, what is happening here? No, they didn't have any idea about that, but everything was running smoothly, so they just went away. So, yeah, the question is not if you can do it, but how you can do it. Like, all this stuff are, we are kind of rethinking what can you do with the spaces and how can you do stuff. And almost all of them are done with very little budgets. Like, for example, the cleaning day, when we did it for the first time, we didn't have any money for it. And Home Theater Festival, totally without any money and so on. And yeah, it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is to pay. So nowadays we are doing a lot of stuff totally legal, but still they are like, yeah, you don't have to ask for permission for everything. And for example, with the dinner under the Helsinki sky, actually it is not allowed to drink alcohol on the street. And we talked with the police, and they said you have to say about it. And we wrote in Facebook like the police kindly asked us to remind that it's not allowed to drink alcohol. So let's clean our juice bottles and have fun or something. So we actually did what the police told us to do, but no one, of course, listened to them. So everyone was having their alcohol, and when the police came there, they said, oh, this is a really nice party. Oh, people are drinking alcohol, but everything's going fine. So yeah, it's fine. And so, but if you ask people for permission, they usually say no, because they have to say no. But then if nothing bad is happening, they are usually fine. And that is better than perfect, just start to do things. Okay. We have some other projects too, but I will keep it short. So there you can find more information about us in English too, and also on Facebook we post stuff. So if you have any questions, you can ask now or later. I can solve more. Do we have it? No, we don't have any time. Oh.
No.
Yeah, okay.
So definitely inspired me to do some of those things.